Afraid to talk about death? I think about that here and again. What it is about death that really keeps us from talking about it. Is it the unknown, the mystery of death? Is it maybe our inability to imagine ourselves no longer in existence in this realm? I mean, people have different beliefs. Some people believe in reincarnation, the afterlife, heaven, hell, many different ways of seeing the unknown. And still, to this current consciousness, it is unknown. What are we afraid of? And I'm thinking about that in this moment because in many ways we miss an opportunity to grow sort of intimately with the truth of our death. And the truth of our death is that eventually it will manifest. Eventually it will come around. The only way to not die is to not have been born. And here we all are inside this existence, this lifetime. And so many of us miss opportunities to give it thought. I find that when I think about dying, when I think about my death, granted, I have no idea when it will arrive, how it will show up, all of the causes and conditions. I haven't a clue. Most people do not until they do. When I think about it, I reflect on how it can inform the way that I live now, knowing that eventually I'm going to die. It really brings me to this moment now. How am I living? How are you living? To give thought to the reality, the inevitability of our death is not to go down a morbid path. It's not to consider, oh, will I be in pain? It's not from a place of worry or angst or fear. Granted, those are all there somewhere for many people, right? But to give the reality of our deaths thought is truly to contemplate the life we live. Are we wasting it? Are we wasting time? Are we living inauthentically? Are there things that we haven't said that we need to say, things that perhaps we need to do? And I'm not specifically referring to end of life planning. I'm simply referring to while I am alive and well, what do I truly want to do with this time? How do I want to show up for myself? How am I moving throughout the days of my life as I occupy space and time? To contemplate death is to be in deep contemplation of how we live. It's to reflect on how we have been living. It's to give thought to our movement, knowing that one day we will not move forward beyond. But in this time now, we are. And so often, the fear of the unknown keeps us from thinking about death and how it can help us plan well this life that we're living now, knowing that time is the one thing no one gets back. So how am I living it? Am I wasting it? Am I sleeping it away? Am I arguing it away? Am I inside of a relationship that really it expired long ago? The period at the end of that relationship sentence was many, many books back, and yet here I am still in it. Maybe it's a job that is no longer serving you, friendships, whatever it is. That is how we spend our time. And it's easy to go about sort of maintaining the status quo, operating on autopilot, living unconsciously when we don't contemplate the reality that we will die. It's as if we feel that we get all this time. Death is for other people, not for me, right? And so we spend our time in mindless ways. And this isn't a judgment, because I know I can have a mindless time or two. No one is exempt from that, because perfection doesn't exist. It is to really highlight and underscore it, however, that the reality that we do not get time back really needs to point inward, where we start to say, I'm going to do the thing now. Because often we save everything for later. I'll get to that later. Oh, I'm going to do that in a bit. And later never reaches now. Later is something that remains in the future. How many laters away are you from the very thing that you said later about? And that later has passed many times. What about now? And so when I contemplate the reality of my death, that it's walking toward me every day, right? We're all living into dying. Every day we are walking closer to our deaths, because we're getting older through time. And through time, it comes along. So as we contemplate that, as I contemplate it, how is it informing my life? And being afraid of it, I guess, it's a real thing, right? I want to say most, of course, I'm not a statistician. I've not done research on it. But I feel like most people are afraid to talk about death, and certainly afraid to die. And not talking about something that's inevitable really leaves us in this space of being at someone else's mercy. Will they have to make decisions for me? Yes, likely. Does anyone know what I would want? No, not if you've never spoken about it, because you've been afraid. So to give thought to the inevitability of our deaths is to pause and reflect on life and begin to look forward and go, what do I want that to look like if I get to choose? Who's on my team? Who are the people who would be there for me? And who are the people there for me now? Would I choose someone to sort of usher me into my dying if I've not been close with that person? If they do not know anything about me in this now time? It's really something, right? We don't think about all those things because fear has a way of keeping us closed off with our fingers in our ears, like blah, 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 blah. We don't want to hear it. As if to talk about it is to put a spell over us, to draw it closer. Now we're sort of this magnetic force bringing our death nigh faster than it would have been had I not spoken about it. You know, it's interesting that we think that way about death, but we don't think that way about a lot of our good, that if I think on those things, I'll draw them nigh, bring them closer, be a magnetic force to draw it in the immediacy of now. Isn't that interesting? We feel that way about things we do not want, and less so about the things that we do want. The mind is deep. And when we're not mindful of the mind, it can take us down places, dark places that we become afraid of. Death is not a darkness. Death is, it's life. It's a part of life. It's a part of it all. Leaves go bare during winter. They do not try to hold on to the limbs, the branches. They just release and let go. They fall. Autumn comes and they begin to fall. There's no attachment. Nature has no attachment to its existence, which is probably why it's so beautiful. It doesn't ask anything of us. And it's often giving us everything that we're asking for, like life. And when we think about our lives, we do not factor in the death of our lives and how beautifully important it is to contemplate, to plan for, to hold it as a guide for how we live, that we live well and not frivolously so, that we are more mindful and intentional and not unconsciously moving through the days of our lives. Death is important. It is an important topic. It is as important as being born. They are one and the same, are they not? You really can't have one without the other. And so today I invite us to peel back the layers of our fear around death. And maybe just start glancing over at it periodically, befriending it, knowing, I know one day you will come for me. Who are you? And that's sort of looking in the mirror, asking, who am I? Because death is not out there somewhere. Death is a part of the insides of who we are. Death is already alive in us. It's not a cold that we catch, a flu that happens. Death lives in each living being. How do we not contemplate that? How do we compartmentalize and become a fragmented version of ourselves? And yet we do, because fear, it's divisive. And I want to encourage us all to return to wholeness, to allow ourselves integration, to return to the fullness of who we are, which includes giving the reality of our deaths thought and allowing that to inform the steps we take while we're living. May we grow more intimate and connected to the reality of our deaths, that we might live well, more fully, more present, more awake. And ultimately that we slowly allow ourselves to release the fear so that we can be free inside ourselves.